We often hear the expression that confession is good for the soul, but we don't really live like we believe it. Confession takes a lot of introspection. We've got to look on the inside and say, what's going on with me so that I can share this on the outside and get a few things off my chest. We have a lot of quarrels and we have a lot of fights. And the book of James, specifically in chapter 4, answers the question, where do those fights come from? And James says that those fights, or those quarrels as he puts it, come from a place within. We think that most of our behaviors, our anger or our depression or any of those kinds of things are the result of what people have forced on us. But James says, no, that's not it. Are people trying to deal with? Absolutely. Are there a bunch of idiots out there? All those things. Sure, I'll give you that. But the reality is that our reaction to those things is not forced on us. We don't have to behave like them or in aggression towards them. What instead we need to do is we recognize that what is coming out from within us is what James calls a lust. And a lust is something that we feel like we need. We start to demand that we have it. And even if it's a good thing, we can want it too much. Or we can want it out of the time period of God's will. And so we start to demand and we fight and we quarrel. And James says we even go so far as to murder one another, even if not literally, figuratively. So the advice that we're given, or the counsel that we're given from God's word, is that when we confess these things, when we start to look inward before we react outward, we're starting to experience the grace that God has given us. He begins to forgive us for that, and we can react like Ephesians 4:32 says, that after we've received forgiveness, we can show that same forgiveness to others, or maybe even more specifically, that we show the grace and the forgiveness that we've already received. So let's learn to lighten our load rather than make our situation more volatile. Let's lighten our load by looking inward first. Let's confess that we have this raging war within and receive the forgiveness that God has offered, and then look to lighten the load of others rather than condemn them for our own behaviors. God bless you.